The money is a byproduct. It'll be a side effect of your focus on the skill set. Now, a skill set is going to take some time. Guy knows more about perfecting lawn care than anyone I know. He knows about the nutrients in the soil that create the best grass based on climate. Still learning after 20 years in the golf maintenance industry. Yeah. I was an engineer. That didn't happen overnight. And after 8 years as an engineer, I was learning stuff every day. James Leone, best trader that we know. He still learns. He still goes in, learns something new, and he's still learning things and loving the evolution of it. So when you're starting out in a journey like trading, where you will be exposed to your bad habits, you will be exposed to your lack of discipline in some areas of life, and it is not fun always looking in the mirror. But I promise you that as long as you work on those things, your skill set will increase to the point where you will get rich quicker than a typical corporate 40-year retirement plan. So it's interesting, and the reason this is coming up, by the way, is because we've got a few people over the last couple of weeks that forgotten that trading is a form of investing. Trading is a long-term game, and when I say long-term, it may take a couple years to really be in the position that you might want to be in. Hopefully not, hopefully faster. But, I don't know. We always look at 90 days is usually what it takes for someone to learn the strategy properly, as long as they have discipline.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. We've got me and Travis here today, and I think James may or may not hop on with us here in a little bit. But we're excited to share with you insights and observations that we've noticed over the course of our careers and in our community, and in ways that we can help you just kind of identify maybe some challenges you may be facing and ways to overcome them. So, anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. So what we wanted to really touch on today, it's kind of a perspective piece, and we get a lot, when you advertise for any kind of make money opportunity. In this case, we're talking about trading, right? It's difficult for it not to come across as get rich quick, right? It's not. Trading is not a get rich quick thing. I always say it may not be get rich quick, but it is get rich quicker than your standard corporate job. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Like what other opportunities are out there that have the same potential of the return on investment, whether that's time or money or, what other ROI is available that's like this, but also scalable like this as well. Right. That's the big question. And so like you and I had first heard about trading years ago. It's like, why didn't we do this 100 years ago? It's just crazy because we were looking at what we were doing, which was already amazing ROI. And we thought we had solved the riddle and like pieced together our own puzzle. And we heard about trading and we saw someone do it in front of our eyes. And we're like, whoa, that's way better. And now we're here talking about it. And for other people who are starting out too, it's like there's nothing as scalable or as potential with your ROI as trading.
Now, as true as that is, what ends up happening though is when people hear things like that, they start to think like, okay, so I start trading, I'm gonna be a millionaire in a month, right? Yeah. And they start to get way ahead of themselves. Trading, like anything else, guys, is a skill set. And funny enough, I was just talking to one of our coaches today, Janelle, and she was telling me how like the easiest part of trading is the part that people are most intimidated by, which is the charts. Like the charts are so once you get it explained to you and you see it in action a few times, boom, you got the charts down pat. The hard part is the discipline. Right. So like you can know all day long when to take a trade and do it properly, but then do you actually follow that process? And you'd be surprised how many people don't. And the only reason is because they're impatient and they're thinking about that whole I want to be a millionaire in a month thing instead of let me take a step back, take my time with this whole thing, you know?
See,
And
that's
Travis,
basically the premise of the entire conversation today is that I think the best way I've ever heard it put is that I think it was just Tony Robbins that I heard it from. He said people overestimate, like severely overestimate what they can do in, let's say, a year. And so given XYZ time frame, 1 year, but they really underestimate what they can do in 2, 3, 5 years, right? And so you can condense that down. And people overestimate what they can do in 1 hour or 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and then underestimate what they can do in a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, right? So the whole point, I think, is setting healthy expectations and in a healthy belief system as well is going to, I think, reduce the amount of tension and stress and anxiety or insert negative emotion here going forward. If you have it all planned out and you're taking it kind of a day at a time, like you were just talking about, Zach, if you take this slow, methodical approach, it happens faster. It's weird. Yeah. The slower you go, the faster you go. You got to slow down to speed up.
Yeah, slow down to accelerate, and it's really an interesting little phenomenon. One of the things that so before I got into trading and before Travis and I and Brian became partners, before I even had an ad agency, I was kind of working on my own marketing through affiliate marketing. And one of the things that one of my first marketing coaches said that kind of blew my mind a little bit, he was like, look, if this skill set takes you 4 years to master and then finally you become a millionaire after 4 years, is it worth it? And of course my answer was absolutely, right? So it kind of puts it in perspective where and at the time I had been doing marketing stuff for like a month or 2 months, maybe. It was very new at the whole game. And so I was like, gosh, I got so much more to learn. Like I got to learn copywriting. I got to learn a little bit more about design and all the technical aspects. And I got a lot to go. And so I said, but hey,
you know, when I met you, Zach, I was in the process of like the most rudimentary things with marketing, like learning about DNS records.
Nice.
And how to set that. And I was sitting in with my old like 2011 MacBook Air, wasn't even running very well anymore, and I'm sitting there crying like, I can't do this. Like, I need my token nerd, and I found you, and it was perfect. So I just wanted to kind of throw in a little humor there for you, because I know how intimidating it was and scary. I figured it out, eventually, or we figured it out, kind of thing. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but just wanted to
no, it's all good. And I see that, there's a person that used to be kind of in the same affiliate marketing group that I was in, and she reached out for some assistance today. And her whole thing is just going very, very, very slow, but she is like learning every little aspect to running a business and doing the marketing and doing the sales. And money isn't part of the equation yet. Like she's making money, but not like a ton of money, and that's not her focus. Her focus is on the skill set, and I find that to be very effective, because when that is your focus, the money is a byproduct. It'll be a side effect of your focus on the skill set. Now, a skill set is going to take some time, right? If you want to be, I don't know, let's see, who do we got here? We might not have a great example of this, but Guy knows more about perfecting like lawn care than anyone I know. He knows about the nutrients in the soil that create the best grass based on climate, all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay. Guy, did you learn that in a couple months, or did that take you some time? I honestly have no idea how much time that would actually take someone to get to your level on, but I imagine the lawn care Burger King still learning after 20 years in the golf maintenance industry. Yeah, isn't that interesting? I was an engineer. That didn't happen overnight, and after 8 years as an engineer, I was learning stuff every day, right? Guess what? James Leone, best trader that we know. He still learns. He still goes in, learns something new, says, "Oh my gosh, this is a really good indicator. Let's pop that on the chart and see what happens." And he's still learning things and loving the evolution of it. Um, so when you're starting out in a journey like trading, where you are going to you will be exposed to your bad habits, you will be exposed to your lack of discipline in some areas of life, and it is not fun always looking in the mirror. But I promise you that as long as you work on those things, your skill set will increase to the point where you will get rich quicker than a typical corporate 40-year retirement plan. Right? So, and it's interesting. And the reason this is coming up, by the way, is because we've gotten a few people over the last couple of weeks that have forgotten that trading is a form of investing. Trading is a long-term game. And when I say long-term, I'm not saying 30 years, okay? We're talking like it may take a couple years to really be in the position that you might want to be in. Hopefully not, hopefully faster, right? But, it could take, I don't know. We always look at 90 days is usually what it takes for someone to learn the strategy properly, as long as they have discipline. And then that's the part that's always kind of how long is this going to take?
One of the first things that really stuck out to me when learning like marketing and sales and such, right? I believe it was Russell Brunson that I heard this from. And he was talking about byproduct of things. Like, so for example, if you go and you make lumber, if that's your business, you cut trees down and make them into 2x4s and 1x6s, whatever have you, right? You're making lumber. A really big byproduct is all the sawdust that you create, and they used to just throw it away. And then some genius came through. He's like, "Why are we throwing it away? I can do X, Y, Z with it." And I think one of them was like they compact it, made bricks, and you could start them on fire like logs. Or another one was to sell it to clean up oil spills. Like, it's still value, but a lot of people just perceived it as garbage, right? And I think, it's not a direct relationship here, but I think one of the biggest byproducts that happens with going through and learning how to trade is actually kind of it's a come to Jesus meeting with yourself. You actually find out a lot about yourself, about your, potential, impatience or quick decision making that's not thought through. Like maybe you're impulsive rather than decisive, right? And one of my favorite things to hear from members going through the program is like, man, I learned how to better talk to my wife because I'm more patient. I listen better, right? I'm looking for the indicators that are going to show me where I should go, right? And so the byproduct, that's the most unanticipated thing that we were expecting going through with actually offering to teach other people what we do, is that they actually learn a larger amount of discipline on the self rather than just on the trading, right? So the self-development I wasn't predicting that, at least, but it's really nice to hear.
Yeah. So as an example, we had a guy probably about a month ago who messaged us, and he was very upset because he had done what he felt like was a lot of work for 90 days to learn how to trade. And he did not feel like he had made any progress at all. And he was very upset about it. So I got on a Zoom call with him to hear him out and to help get him sorted. And at the end of the day, guys, I've been watching and reviewing his trading sessions ever since. He's doing very well. And at the end of the day, I didn't really help him with a lot other than recognizing and believing in himself. It was more like he knew what trades to take and what not to take. He already knew that, right? But me telling him dude, that was a great idea. Or, dude, you know that this was not a good idea, right? And just telling him, he's like, oh my gosh, you're right. I did know that. And now he's doing very well. He's doing 60% win rates, which in the binary side is more than enough to be a profitable trader. And so it's building those habits and that discipline. And it's just interesting how sometimes you just need a little helping hand, which is what our community is there for.
That's the power of the coaching aspect of things,
Yeah.
and this is a military, I don't want to say belief, like it's an antage. I think that's the right word. That when you think that you've gone through 100% of what you have, your 100% effort, you're only like a percentage of the way there. I don't know what it actually is, but like they say, if you think you've given it your all, you've only gone 70%. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why people who are I love talking about the gym as compared to trading, because there's so many correlations. Right.
Yeah.
And so someone's at the gym and they're pumping, and things you think you've given it your all and you can't put it all the way up. And then someone comes and grabs your butt cheek and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you push it all the way up. And it's like, oh yeah, you had some more in you. You just weren't pulling it out yourself. And that's the power of coaching, or community, I should say, and just in general. When you have other people there rooting you on, helping you through the process, encouraging you, pushing you, you're going to go farther. I guarantee you, when I go to the gym by myself, I work out less intensely than when I go with someone else. And it's not so much a competition. It's just that accountability, that I don't know, the camaraderie of community is something I think most people take for granted. We are social creatures. Relationship is so important for us, even when it comes to trading. Right.
Yeah.
So he had it in him. He did it. He's the hero in the situation. It wasn't Zach Shanky, right? He was the one. You just kind of identified it. He had a paradigm shift, right?
Yeah.
And he pulled it out of himself, and it was now trading differently. This is all perspective. It's belief, right?
Yeah. And it's like, so he's got some goals to basically just make an extra $500 a month. Let's start there, right? And that's like, he set this goal, right? So he's like, let's just start there. Let's just make an extra $300 to $500 a month. And so he knows exactly what steps to take to get there. And guess what? Anyone that's in our community, you also know. You can go in. We have this awesome document called a withdrawal sheet or withdrawal plan worksheet. And it's a spreadsheet, right? But you plug in how much money you're starting with, how much money you want to make per week or per month, I think it is. And then it spits out the math and says, look, if you work on the gate system, blah, 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 in this many weeks, you'll hit your goal. And is that perfect? No, because you may experience a loss in between. Lost days happen every once in a while. But it'll give you an estimate and it'll give you a game plan. And now you're like, okay, cool. That's my plan. Let's stick with it as best I can. So it's fun to see. I love to see that the people realize, like, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I just need someone to point out that I know what I'm doing. And we've had that with a number of folks, even some of them that are on the podcast here with us on Zoom. Another quick example, we had a guy, not really a discipline thing, but kind of along the lines of thinking long term. This guy had a full-fledged plan. He's got his wife trading with him. He did very, very well. So he went live in his account middle of January and tripled it in a month. Okay. Did super duper well. His wife is doing similar numbers. That's
300%.
Yeah. 300% increase.
Your savings account gets you 5% right now. And that's really big for a savings account. So well done.
Yeah.
If you're listening, well done.
And his wife, and they have this plan where they just want to make 2% a day. So it's a compared to some of our other members, it's a pretty small goal. Okay. Mm-hmm. So just want to make 2% a day, and they're just growing their account to the point where that 2% a day is $500, right? Do the math in your heads. What does that equal? Right. And so that's it. They just want to make $500 a day, gaining just 2% of their account and then withdrawing. I think that's amazing. I think that is a plan. And then life happened to throw this guy a nice little curveball where he's going to need to accelerate that plan a little bit. And so guess what? He's got coaches that are here to help him so that he doesn't go so fast that he misses out. The thing is, guys, if you focus on your win rate, you focus on the skill, you'll make money. The moment you focus on making money, it's gone.
That's the hard part. That really is the hard part. The money is an emotional being, if you will. It's an emotional concept, both positively and negatively, right? So you make more money, you're happier, right? But nobody likes to lose money, okay? But when it comes to percentages and numbers are not an emotional thing. Like it's pretty easy to retract and see the picture for what it actually is when you're looking at percentages. And when you focus on that and focus on the skill of being able to consistently move those numbers in the direction you want, then money is the byproduct of that. Okay. To be a trader, you're just making percent gains. That's what it means to be a trader. Okay. The byproduct of it is that you can pull money out of it basically from thin air, right? Yeah. And so that's the byproduct, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. And if you think of it that way, then your focus at the sawmill is not to create sawdust. You're just trying to cut lumber. That's it. And if all you're trying to do is focus on your percentages, then you will do well. And then the byproduct of money will come from that. But if you just focus on trying to make sawdust, you're losing out on a lot of lumber. And it's I don't know, the metaphor only goes so far. It's kind of, it's just ridiculous to focus on the emotional aspect. You want to be robotic. You want to go through with a mechanical approach, right? There's very little room for like emotional interpretation of things. It's a mechanical process. If this happens, then do this. If this happens, do this. It's not if I feel, then I'm going to do this, right? It's more mechanical than that. And so we have to be as mechanical as possible. We call it being the robot, right? Because the robots don't have emotions. And that's getting away from looking at it from a monetary standpoint. Look at it from a percentage.
And of course, and the reason that trading is it's a very dynamic, this is why having a coach is so important as well, is because everyone's going to learn at different rates, not because someone's better at charts than someone else. No, it has so much more to do with emotions and discipline. Someone may be more patient than someone else, right? They may see faster results. Someone else may be more emotional than someone else. So then they may have a slower result because they need to control that emotion before they make a decision in the markets. So it's a pretty dynamic world of trading, which is why most people in the trading industry, only 3% are actually making profits on a regular basis. Versus us and our active traders, 92% of them are making profits on a daily basis. Okay. That's a big difference. And the reason is because we're cognizant. The big differentiator has nothing to do with strategy. It has everything to do with accountability and support. That's it. We figured out the piece of the puzzle that's missing. Does that make it easy? No. Right? We still have to, okay, let me step in, let me help you. Let's figure this out together. And it's not just me, right? It's our whole team, right? We've got Janelle, we've got Brian, Travis, James, even members in our community stepping up and saying, hey, that guy needed help. So I just reached out to him and sorted him out, so amazing. That's what you need. If you want to have success in trading, that's what you need. Go ahead, Travis.
Zach, is that a picture, like a outline of you and your girlfriend on your shirt?
So I got me and her matching sweatshirts for Valentine's Day.
You look like Mr. Peanut.
Yeah,
this is the monocle.
This is from a picture that we took together. So we have a selfie that looks like this. And so I sent in to this company the picture, and then they did the little outline thing. I thought it was a hot dog face on a hot dog bun. What? How does that? I'm
sorry. If you're just listening to the podcast and you can't see it, it's like, get back to the topics, right? So sorry to distract, but yeah, I just noticed that looks like Zach. It is Zach.
Yeah, it's Zach. That's awesome. That's Sherry. Awesome. We're planning on wearing these like Like taking the kids somewhere and then wearing these shirts together just to be embarrassing, you know, because we're wearing matching.
My favorite like couple shirts is like I saw it was a guy and his wife like on a cruise ship or something at the buffet line, and he's got a shirt on the back of it that says, "If I'm lost, find Sherry." I don't remember her name. And then the wife had a shirt on and it just says, "I'm Sherry." So like everyone knew. That was hilarious. But has absolutely nothing to do with trading. But
it was a good Valentine's Day gift. I recommend it if you find that company. It's pretty cool. I got it on a Facebook ad, and I was like, "Hey, that looks sweet. That'd be fun."
That is pretty cool. We did an adventure challenge, my wife and I. And if you guys don't know, highly recommend. I'm not affiliated, but I highly recommend you check out Adventure Challenge books. It could be for couples, could be for yourself, could be for friends, could be for family. Basically, what it is that you have these little scratch off things, and you only get a couple hints about what it is. And so, like for example, last night we kind of get a picture of what this recipe might look like. It tells you there's a couple hints of what the activity's kind of like, and then you scratch it off, and it tells you here's what you're gonna do. We had to make our dinner together, our new recipe, and then we had to eat it in the dark. So we didn't quite do that. We lit some tea light candles all around, but it was really weird to not be able to see while you're eating. But little just quirky things like that to do. Yeah. Some of them are going out, and it's just really, really fun. So look into it if you're interested.
I would agree. I would agree with that. We've done a couple of those as well, and they were very fun, fun activities. Yeah. Anyway, relationships is important. It's part of our philosophies here at Prosperity Movement. So I feel so single right now. Sorry, Jonathan. Anyway,
single ready to mingle though.
Yeah. So trading, so discipline. It's definitely the biggest part. And part of, what's going to help you with your discipline and with your patience though is having that thought process of, hey, you know what? This could take some time. Like, be patient with yourself in the learning process here. We actually have very specific and strategic steps in both of our trading phases, okay? So phase one, what it looks like with binary trading is it starts out with you're in a demo account and your goal is to get a certain win rate, okay? And then you switch over to live. There's a 5-week transition into a live account. That's done on purpose. That is done very, very strategically. It's worked for several people. And then now you're on your live account and you have a certain goal. Very small numbers. We're not making bank. We're building a skill set. Okay, minimizing risk while learning. Okay. And then as that grows, you go through the gate system, which just cranks up those numbers strategically, little by little, as you continue to prove that you have the skills to handle it.
So welcome back to the gym. We're back in the gym. Right. You don't start with 500 pounds. You start bench pressing with the bar. Then let's put on some weights and see what you can do. And then from there, as you condition yourself and get stronger, we add some more weight. Depending on how much you want to gain or what your goals are in the gym, those weight amounts will change and how often you lift it. Everything is the exact same with trading. We're going to start you out safely, reasonably, condition you up. As your account grows, your numbers will change. It doesn't make sense if you've got $1 million account, you're trying to make $6,000 a month to go 4% every session. That doesn't make any sense. The numbers depend on your own nuances and what you're trying to accomplish, what kind of conditioning you have, what your skill set is, and how much time you're going to do. Right? Yeah. Really, truly, the simplicity of the gym is the same as the simplicity of trading. But here's the problem with it. People are fickle. And if you guys don't know, like 85% of gym memberships go with with people who don't go to the gym. They just bought it, the New Year's resolution, or they signed a contract, they felt bad. They don't hold themselves accountable to actually go and get the result of what the gym has to offer and promise. It is, I don't know why, it is a conspiracy these days that a caloric deficit with an exercise regime and a good nutrition plan is going to produce weight loss. That's eat less, work out more, and that is going to work always. But you've got to do it consistently. It is a consistency issue, right? And the same thing with trading is we need people to be consistent, and the only way to be consistent is to have something methodically, a method planned out that's simple enough to understand and tangible enough to do over and over. You're not what you do. You're not what you do. You are what you repeatedly do. Okay. You can go out to the gym once, does not make you somebody who works out, right? But if you go to the gym 3 times a week, yeah, I would say you're a guy that keeps or gal that keeps yourself in a healthy shape and stuff, right? Like it's what you repeatedly do. And so therefore a trader is not somebody who goes and makes trades. A trader is somebody who goes through and consistently makes those trades, right? So just because you push a couple buttons doesn't mean you're a trader yet. It's doing it over time and doing it repeatedly, doing it well and intelligently and accountably. The accountability is the hard part. Showing up to the gym, it's the hardest thing to do for me. I have never once, not ever in my life, left the gym and said, "Oh, I wish I didn't do that." Well, no, that's not true. That one time that I almost died, that's a different story.
That's a unique circumstance.
You guys can look up rhabdomyolysis if you'd like. It happened to me because I did the most intense workout of my life. It was crazy. Don't do it. But other than that day, I have never once left like, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. The accomplishment feeling is so powerful, right? Yeah. And so it's just, anyways, I'm off my rant. Zach, fill me in here.
You're good. But in Forex, we have a process there as well. So James has developed his process for over a decade. Right? And honed in what he feels is the wisest way to grow the skill set in order to confidently make it an income. Right? And what that looks like for him is you are in demo account and you're winning a 70% win rate of all your trades, which I know a lot of people in the Forex side that just moved over there. They're not there. They're not at 70%. I guarantee you. But this is before you go live. You should be winning 70% of the trades you take. And you should have a hold percentage of, I think he says 1 or 1.5%. And that's it. Once you accomplish that, and you have to have a minimum of, I don't remember. It's either 30 trades or it's 50 trades. I can't remember which one it is, but you have to have a minimum number of trades as well to have all of that. Yeah, it's very specific. 30 to 50. Thank you, Guy. Once you accomplish all that, now you can go into live. And now you can actually, because now he feels now you're confident, you know what you're doing, you've expressed you've shown and demonstrated your discipline. You're ready to go live there too. So we have these processes, guys, that we've honed in, and it's not just us saying it. It's based on people's experiences and what feedback they've given us, and we've been able to hone things in to a very strict process. Now, the part that sucks with that process is your first couple of months are going to feel slow. It's going to feel like you're not progressing or that you're stuck. But that is not the case most of the time. And most of the time, everyone that I've talked to that's felt that way, I look back at their first trading sessions and I look at their most recent trading sessions and there is drastic progress. And sometimes you just like that one guy I was talking about earlier, sometimes you just need someone else to point it out for you. Mm-hmm. Right? But once you get through that, the sky's the limit. Trading is amazing.
Welcome back to the gym again, guys. It's like when you first start going, the idea is like, I want to lose some weight. And then you start working out and you get on the scale the first day. You're like, oh, I didn't do anything. And you do it again the next day. The weird thing about it is like, as you're going, you're adding some weight and muscle mass to you, right? Not just losing adipose tissue. And so there's a period, this gray area. It's like, I don't feel like I'm making any progress, but I promise you are. Your heart's pumping harder and you're getting that into shape. And I can go into details, but the whole point is little things are happening and it's making a big difference. It's just not always a visible difference at first, right? It's a physical, internal. And the same thing with trading is that you're making the differences in all the ways that matters. You just have to start. Everyone wants to go a million miles an hour. And again, it comes back to the idea that you overestimate what you can do in a short period of time, and you underestimate what you can do if you give yourself enough time to be a little bit more of a breathing room type scenario, right? And so thinking big picture is really important. And the irony of this is that a couple months is not a long time. A couple years, again, not a long time, because where else are you going to go and work up the corporate ladder or work up the whatever else, whatever other options are available to get the same kind of ROI on this energy, time, and money that you invest into this type of skill. There's nothing that compares. And so the time frames, it boggles my mind when people are like 2 months in and just trying to throw in the towel. It's like, no, let's get back over and let's start pumping some iron. It's totally fine. I get you're frustrated. Let's keep going. And then the next day they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I went to the gym with you again. Like, you don't regret going to the gym. I promise you won't. And you don't regret the next day of trying. It's just a process of giving yourself enough wiggle room, enough breathing room, enough time.
It reminds me of Matt and his story. January of last year, 2023, he messaged us to quit. He was ready to quit. And I remember I got on a Zoom with him and chatted with him for a bit, encouraged him to stay in. And of course, I'm not the hero here. I was just pointing out statistical data things with Matt, and Matt is a very smart guy. So he saw what I was saying, and he's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try again. And he was working with James quite a bit. And by the way, that was Matt. I don't know how many years he had already been trading before he found us, but it was a while. It's at least 1 year, probably 2, if I'm not mistaken. And
he was on the Krispy Kreme diet for several years. Then he got with us, and we're like, nope, no more Krispy Kreme for you.
right. And nowadays he's teaching other people. He's like basically another educator in our community, and he runs a call every morning. And I've been on many of those calls, almost all of the ones that when I'm actually trading, I definitely trade every morning with him, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's just laughing to the bank right now. And that's amazing, and he's got progress to go. Of course, he's not totally where he wants to be yet, but imagine if he had quit. Oh my gosh. That would be so awful. What a missed opportunity, because he's not only making a huge impact in his own life, but he's making an impact in other people's lives as well, which is a huge feeling of fulfillment. So anyway.
Yeah, absolutely true. And of course, there's other examples like this, and we definitely can't shout out to everybody, but Dave, integral part of prosperity movement as well. And I remember when we were in Pensacola and I met him for the first time, I asked him, so tell me about your history. Tell me where you're going. Tell me, how are you feeling about everything? And I don't want to disclose all the details, but he said that where he came from, the institution he was working with, well, he was definitely in the red. He spent way more money than anything. He never made any money. And then working with us, and within a relatively short amount of time again, right? He's in the black, and 2024 is the year for more. Like, it's just finally that aha moment happens. And when that aha moment happens, it's amazing. It really is cool. I see people do it all the time. Yeah, because I promise, learning anything worthwhile is frustrating until it's not. It's hard until it's not. And to have that aha moment is really kind of cool to see the excitement that people have and the energy that they bring in. And it even makes me feel better with going and talking to new members. I get all pumped. I'm like, oh yeah, let me tell you about Matt or Dave or whomever. We used to talk about Paul a lot. Paul was a good example of giving up or having something come up and then finally buckling down and taking it seriously.
Yeah. It's really something else. And I know James has examples too, before he even met us, of people that have went through a similar little emotional roller coaster where there's like an emotional rock bottom where you just feel like you're not moving, and you need someone on the outside to help you get you back on your feet. And that's what we're here for. So guys, if you are interested in joining our community, if you're not yet a member, all you have to do is you go to our website, prosperitymovement.online. Okay. And in the bottom right-hand corner of that website, there's a little chat bubble where you can chat, put in a little message. And all you have to do is you put in your name and email, And the message that you should put in there is discipline. Okay, because that's kind of what we're talking about today. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a resource that we have sold in the past for various amounts of money, but we'll give it to you for free. If you just go to that chat bubble, type in discipline, we'll give you our trading blueprint. It's not a strategy. It actually talks about the more important aspects, which is the discipline and the perspective and the way of thinking about money. So definitely go in there and do that. We'd be happy to connect with you and work with you from there. So anything else, Travis, as we tie up? Any questions?
To kind of clarify with that information that we want to give you complimentary, the first half of it roughly is the orientation type scenario. Like why do so few people succeed in trading? Well, that first half answers those questions, and it talks about the important aspects of what you need to start thinking about, how to orient your mind, and how to prepare yourself to start learning appropriately and behaving right. And then the other half of it is talking more specifically about what exactly do we do when it comes to starting out with cash flow, getting something that can replace an income. And then how do we, what is it that we do to take that excess time and money that we make and reapply it to again, reinvest, right? More assets, multiple streams of income. And then lastly, once you have all these things, how do you manage it, keep it, and protect it? That's really important to go through as well. And then the very last section that you'll see is us showing you exactly how we've done it and what you can do to do it as well. So it's really, really good information, like 3.5 hours of info. And you get to, if you're new, you get Brian and James. You've already listened to us, me and Zach. So yeah, definitely go jump in. We'll give that to you complimentary.
Absolutely. Anyways, any last comments there, Travis, besides that?
We got someone that just messaged us.
His exchange saves traders 50% of investment tax upfront. Cool.
Just email support.
Email support at prosperitymovement.online. Prosperity Movement Online. Be happy to take a peek. So very good. Very good, everybody. Well, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. We'll be here next week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week, guys.
Adios. Goodbye.
Adios.